Well, hello there, and welcome to another edition of Warbird Wednesday. My name is Fred Bell. I am the Vice Chairman of the Palm Springs Air Museum, and we are running down towards the end, Greg, the end of our kind of jaunt through X-planes, kind of exotic X-planes. Last week we were talking about a nuclear-powered bomber, which was fascinating to me. Now, this week we are headed into electromagnetic world, Greg, the scattering of electromagnetic waves. My Punchinello, my little Punchinello assistant. But first, Greg has set me up with I think this is a pith helmet, isn't it? I think. So I feel like I'm on the British Expeditionary Forces doing something. I'm going to go ahead and lose this. I have no idea what this has to do with our topic today, but Greg will tell me. So we are now headed out into the realm of DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. Now, DARPA is what's the best way to describe them? They will push the outside of the envelope in every area. They go out and look for exotic technology, obviously on how it can be worked in the defense of the United States. They do all kinds of interesting things, but at one point they were extremely interested in radar evading airplanes. Any hint as to where we're going here? So today we are on our run-in towards the F-117 hangar with its, what would you say, baby brother is maybe the right term, or its first cousin, the Have Blue. Have Blue was the proof of concept aircraft for the stealth fighter, which we're going to get into, the F-117. Now, what we're going to do, I'm going to use a stealth as an example here. We'll give you a plan view. Greg can throw a plan view up of our dear Have Blue. Now, it was a proof of concept aircraft that was tested out at Groom Lake, which would become the burrow, the home for the stealth fighter later. It was the first fixed-wing aircraft where the external shape was designed by radar emissions, by computer to avoid radar waves, if you can think about that. Before that, there was never an aircraft that was purely designed to avoid detection by radar. They were getting to the point where they really understood it. Now, we're going to do a top-level view today, but I am going to give you some homework. On our YouTube page is a whole bunch of interviews with people that were directly involved with the stealth. Too much to watch in one sitting, but I encourage you. I'm going to scratch the surface today. These are the people that were really involved over the next 2 weeks. Maybe watch those as we cover Stealth Fighter 833 in our collection that's on loan with us from the Air Force. But these are the folks that were involved in design, flight controls, propulsion, first flights. You're really going to want to watch these interviews. They're up on our YouTube channel. I encourage you, get a cup of coffee or your favorite disgusting soda, and Greg can help you out there. Oh, Greg's going, ouch, ouch. And we can take you through Stealth Land. But the shape of Have Blue was based on, and this is a Russian name, I'm going to have fun with this, Peter Euphemistiv, I'm probably sure I butchered that, work on reflection of electromagnetic waves. Now, he did an open source paper. And an open source paper, and I gotta remember, this was during the Cold War, so he was working on it at that time, but he did a paper on shapes that would bounce radar waves back, and or deflect them, if it were. And his paper became the basis for both Have Blue and later on the Stealth Fighter. Now, think about how ironic that is, that a Russian, during the Cold War, came up with something that was used to defeat Soviet air defenses. That is pretty amazing. Now, the aircraft was designed under total secrecy. Later, they're gonna give you a little homework. We had the senior trend and the senior prom. They were code names. I'm not gonna give them up yet, Greg. I'm not gonna give them up. But the aircraft was designed in total secrecy. There was HB 1001 and HB 1002. They were proof of concept aircraft. Keeping with Lockheed's movement, these aircraft were derived from other airplanes. The landing gear was from an F-5, as an example. The engines were from a T-2C, a Buckeye, and the flight control systems were from an F-16. So they came up with the shape, and DARPA had put out this request to come up. They had put out 5 proposals. There were only 2 takers, Greg. There was Lockheed and Northrop. Sound like the familiar suspects in this? They were the 2 takers. Now, they were given contracts to come up with a design, and they built some shapes that ultimately were tested. The shapes worked, so DARPA went to Lockheed and said, build us a working prototype. Now, Ben Rich was told by Kelly Johnson, this will never fly. And they had a small bet on this, and the idea behind it was that, and by the way, Ben Rich won the bet, but Kelly Johnson, who is legendary, imagine if the framer of the Constitution told you that you would never, that one of the, Alexander Hamilton or something came to you and said, you'll never get the Constitution done, and you're trying to write the Constitution of the United States, some groundbreaking thing. That's what this was. This was groundbreaking. Now, why was it so groundbreaking? Well, the Soviet Union had become first and foremost in anti-aircraft technology. They really, really honed their skills in both missiles and radar technology and radar-guided weapons. And they had gotten to the point where NATO and the American defense establishment had looked at 2 things. One, they looked at Vietnam, and we've talked about combat losses in Vietnam. They were absolutely horrendous. And we had with the F-105, which is a great example, the aircraft was big, it was fast, it was built on all the tenets of the Century Series fighters, but when it came up against a determined air defense, what happened? They got shot to pieces, to the point where the F-105 is one of the few aircraft that has ever been retired because it could not field enough operational airplanes to go forward. So the Russians were paying attention to that. The next thing was what, Greg? The Yom Kippur War and the wars in the Middle East. So the Yom Kippur War was another example of very high losses with Russian Soviet design technology. That is what was driving DARPA to try to figure a way around it, because the alternative was, and I'm not kidding here, and you can argue with me in the comments, but I've seen loss rates of 50% within the first week. So we've talked before about attrition. If you attrit the attacking force by 50% of their operational fleet in the first week of fighting, first of all, not 100% of the airplanes or whatever you're using are going to be operational, right? So let's say that 20% of your fleet is not operational. If 50% of your operational aircraft are gone, you are at that point combat ineffective, because you cannot field enough aircraft en masse to impact the outcome. So Greg, in modern times, this has nothing to do with air battles, but if you look at what just happened with the Ukraine, the Russians deployed 65% of their combat power in Ukraine. They lost, by conservative estimates, 25% of their equipment, and their men are either killed, wounded, and their gear is combat effective. Why do you think they pulled back from around Kiev? They no longer had the combat power to be able to project, effectively fight over that big an area. Imagine if now you're talking about a global war during the Cold War and you have to deploy that many airplanes. Again, 50%, you won't be around the second week. There will not be the ability to fight. Now that's assuming that you don't go nuclear, which a conflict between the Soviet Union and the United States, or the Warsaw Pact and the Western Allies and NATO, was always assumed at some point would go nuclear, because the Allies could not hold, NATO could not hold the Western Europe from the Russian advance. At that time, the Soviet army was much bigger with a lot more armor. But in these stages, what they were trying to do was render that Russian air defense completely ineffective. So what I want to do today is I want to salute all of the dreamers. All of the people at DARPA and Lockheed and Northrop, the two takers on this project. It's very easy to be a naysayer, to say something won't work. But if you look at Ben Rich and all the people that were involved in that program, and again, those people in the videos that I want you to go out and look at, if they had accepted it won't work, it's impossible, they would never have been able to create this technological marvel and move the ball forward. So today, with what Greg has supplied, we're going to see, this is batch brewed Jackson Hole soda, okay? A huckleberry. You know, I've never had a huckleberry. I've seen, like in Tombstone, will you be my huckleberry? I have no idea what a huckleberry is. I hope it's good. I'm looking at Greg. Let's see. Best dang soda in the whole darn country. These people they're like the stealth. They're shooting for the moon. Bottled in the USA. They got the memo. That's what I was looking for. Cane sugar.
C&H. C&H. Pure cane sugar. Pure cane sugar. From Hawaii. From Hawaii. Growing in the sun. Growing in the sun.
There we go. And we are going to salute those dreamers today. Like I said, dream big. Don't let anybody tell you can't do anything. Ben Rich, all the people that made the stealth fighter happen, that made Half Blue happen. I salute you. Ooh, I like this, Greg. I don't know what a huckleberry is, but it's actually not bad. It's sweeter than sweet. I'm going to hold on to this, Greg. We're going to finish this one today. So, as I said, there were two companies in the program. They took it out to Groom Lake, to that area around there, to test it. What happened next was they got 36 flights out of the first prototype, and then it crashed. So it's not good, but it crashed. The second prototype, they got 52 flights out of it, and it crashed. But they reached a point with the program that they had enough data that it would actually work. You had a completely aerodynamically not sound, fly-by-wire airplane that had a very small radar signature, and that is when they made the decision to go to, I told you your homework, senior trend, which was the F-117, which is going to be our next episode. Now, the sad part about it for museums like me is that neither one of those prototype airplanes exist. That would be so cool. So from what I understand, the wreckage of the two aircraft is actually buried somewhere out at Groom Lake. And that's kind of sad for a museum. It'll never see the light of day as an exhibit. But these were groundbreaking airplanes, and at the time, totally top secret. So what's coming down the line now, and what the United States had set up, and we'll talk about with the stealth fighter, is a technology that will render billions of rubles wasted, because the Soviet air defense, if we're successful with the senior trend, we now have an airplane that can evade Soviet radar and their anti-aircraft systems. Now, specifically next week, we're going to talk about Stealth Fighter E-33, why it's so important. We're going to show you the hangar, so you're not going to want to miss that episode. But first, we consider ourselves air pirates, Greg. Did you know that? We do. Greg walks around the R. He gives a little R. And so why would you not want this? I don't think this would look good on me, Greg. I could wear a tank, but I'm afraid it might not be fetching. So, but you might be able to wear this. By the way, I love this graphic. This is one of my favorite graphics. This is a Stan Stokes original. Stan Stokes, the world's greatest living aviation artist. By the way, that's $5 that Stan owes me now. That's the deal every time I say that. But he made this, and if you want to go out online and click on that, you can go to, and Jason will send you one of these, lickety-split, and you'll be like the only person on your block. What's fun about these is I've actually been out and about at various places. I've seen people wearing the t-shirt of this, which is kind of cool. But I like this graphic. So get out to our website, click on the merchandise link, and or the link that's attached with this video, and you can wear one of these finely crafted, amazingly crafted pirate shirts. Now, if you came across us on YouTube, all we talk about are military airplanes. We do one a week. We're not too big on production. I sit here and kind of go through it. We do a walk around. Next week, as I said, we're going to do that walk around on the F-117 in the new Houston Pavilion. But right now, if you enjoyed this, subscribe. Give the gift of Warbird Wednesday to a friend. Send it to a friend who's interested in military aviation. If you came across us on Facebook, give us a like, and again, share us on your platform. We can surely use your help. Now, in this case, and what you're going to see is we are restoring E-33, and we're in a brand new hangar. We can really use your donations. So there's a donation link on this video. Click on that donation link. Leave us a few rubles or Bitcoin or whatever you want. I'm not sure rubles right now may be the good thing, but leave us a few bucks. We can surely use it. My name is Fred Bell. I am the Vice Chairman of the Palm Springs Air Museum. Have a great day.